Introducing your perennial hosts, David Bates and Josh Carey.
Hey, welcome in, everybody. It's Saturday morning.
It is indeed.
8 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know what time it is, David Bates?
It's time for Gardening Inside Out.
Absolutely. Coming to you live here from the Green Room Studios at Bates Nursery and Garden Center, nestled inside Bates Hollow on Whites Creek Pike here in Nashville, Tennessee. This is Bates Hollow, right?
I'm okay with you calling it that. I don't think anybody else calls it that.
I don't
You
care.
know what? It's okay.
Well-
you know, we're here. We're glad everyone is tuned in today, whether it is indeed 8 o'clock on Saturday,
Yep.
December 7th, or it's whatever time you happen to be watching it, because
Yep.
you never know when that might be.
Because
Could
you can
be-
watch it anytime.
Yeah. This could be 2 years from now, Josh.
It could be.
But currently it's right now,
It
so
would
we're
be
going to go with
archived
that.
at point, right?
And what we usually start off with is the weather. And there we are. 22 degrees currently here, and it is warming up nicely and fairly quickly. It was 17 degrees not too long ago, 53 for the high today, and sunshine. So that sounds rather welcome compared to what it was yesterday. Yesterday was a chilly day, and we
And we're not talking crock pots.
no, I know Austin was one of those people who was really glad that they got the first layer of wall up inside the bait stream. That way we could have semi-controlled conditions anyway. So it's so comparatively pleasant in there. We'll talk about the changes going on there that are strictly temporary, because we got an event.
An event?
Yeah, we got a company event happening on Sunday. So anyway, there's that. That's just for employees.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, I don't even know why I mentioned it, Josh. Sorry.
Because it looks so gorgeous right now.
Yes,
that might be
people
why.
go, wow, this looks so nice. What's going on here? So anyway, we'll get to that.
Okay.
Anyway, Sunday it will be 55 degrees in afternoon, early evening, rain, maybe 7/800ths of an inch is what that says. So 3/4 to 8/10ths of an inch, somewhere in there. A little bit more in the overnight going into Monday. We're with cloudy conditions, 63, 51, 54, 32, and the cool down returns, but not severe. By Wednesday, we've got partly cloudy. 42-25 for the overnight low, 45-30 on Thursday. And as we roll into next weekend, it's a pretty mild 51, 54, 37. You know, it's going to be really pretty nice comparatively. We've had a couple of cold nights in a row here. We went down to 13.8 last night. We're going to take a look at the national radar here.
Boy.
There's some precip out there, but it's pretty much out on the edges, and we've got this little bit down here in Texas and Louisiana, and
Oh, I'm glad I'm not in Winnipeg.
yep, that looks chilly, doesn't it? Anyway, the warm weather is returning, and this moisture will be running into our area as we get into the days ahead. We've had no precipitation this week. We're still sitting at 48.26 here at Bates Nursery.
Wow.
And again, 22 degrees here live from the green room. You're listening and viewing Gardening Inside Out.
Yes.
Welcome in.
Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, everywhere around.
Right.
Hey, if you're out there, comment. Let us know you're watching. Okay.
Yes, and that's where you can also ask questions.
You can do that.
You can just log in there. You can also do it directly to our YouTube page.
That's the one.
That's the one. So
13 of you are watching, so we know you're out there.
thank you. So
Okay.
and we also have email. We have pretty much any way you can think of. Just go to Gardening Inside Out, and that will get you in contact with us, and then you can
Pictures.
put your question. Yeah, we encourage you to send pictures. It's just a
Visual.
video and visual based program. It's got a significant amount of talking goes into it. I will try not to. That won't be the case, because we have two very capable talkers right alongside it, in addition to you, Josh, which, I mean, you're no slouch. When it
Okay,
comes to talking.
Tyler's no slouch either. So.
No, I haven't
All right.
gotten to
Yeah.
Tyler yet, but I'll
Okay.
go ahead and go to Tyler. Hey, Tyler, how you doing? We'll go ahead
Are
and
you
go.
capable?
Hey, David, how you doing?
Are you
All
capable?
right.
Good morning.
Tyler Campbell.
Hey.
Tyler's the guy that makes sure all this happens.
My
every
hair's
week.
crazy.
Your hair's great today.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
all right. So,
Hat hair.
so there's that. And now over to Austin and Caroline.
Yeah.
Welcome in, guys. Glad to have you this morning.
Good morning.
Always. And Caroline's hair not only looks great, it smells great. I can
does.
smell the conditioner from over here.
It does. Put a lot on it this morning.
Yeah. So anyway,
Thank you.
So there's that, and now while we're on the subject of hair,
Yeah.
Austin's hair looks as good as mine does, except
Yes.
it's darker.
Yeah. I was about to say,
what little
what about
there
my
is.
hair, David?
Yeah.
How does it smell?
Terrific.
Smells
It's
and looks
not
great.
long enough to even have a smell.
No, that's not true. You've got like
Yeah, that much. Anyway.
I resemble that.
Sorry, it starts
All right.
smelling at
We
2
can't
inches.
be making fun of the follically challenged. So, I mean, it's okay.
So for
right.
those folks who might venture out to see Bates Nursery today,
Wear your hat.
Josh made the remark, gosh, you guys really sold a lot of stuff this week. I go, well, not exactly. I mean, it's not that we didn't sell anything. It's that we've moved a lot of things inside. And this cold weather kind of made us get that underway a little bit quicker than we might have otherwise. You never know what the weather's going to do, and we have facilities to be able to take care of things. And we continue to get new plants in. So some of these plants come from places like Georgia, which is what the case was yesterday, Austin. And so some of them don't need to be directly outside. They need cold weather. They just don't need it all at once, at least not down to the teens the first night they have cold weather. So we're in that period of acclimatizing them to the cold temperatures, and they'll be fine. It just takes a bit. You can't give it to them all at one time.
It's kind of like going to the top of Mount Everest. You got to go to base camp, then you got to go to camp.
You got to work your way
you
up
got to get
there.
up there.
Yep.
Okay.
So anyway,
correct.
we're sending our plants to base camp because winter is
Here.
it's approaching.
It feels like it's here.
Felt like winter this week.
Definitely.
There is no
Oh
place
my gosh.
colder. There's no place colder or no place hotter than a new construction home in these weather conditions.
Well,
It
when you
was-
have add a
it's
little wind,
brutal.
it add
Really?
some wind in with it. It is indeed get your attention. And
So if the notes or your hands are to freeze,
yeah, I'll remember everything. I'm gonna get back in the truck and write my notes.
because it really makes you mad if you say bad words. If your tape measure springs back and catches.
Oh, and they smack you. Dad, burn it. That's the
Right.
first
Dad,
thing.
burn it.
That's the first thing that comes to my mind. I don't know about you guys, but the good news is that the weather, as I already mentioned, is going to be pretty nice today. I mean, comparatively nice. So, invite you guys to get your plans underway. Come on out and see us. We got a lot of stuff to be able to show, and you don't have to be outside very much if you don't want to be. We do have living Christmas trees, trees that have been brought in for that purpose. Now, technically,
anything.
you can use any living plant as a living Christmas tree. It might not be that conical shape that is the classic style, and I do encourage people to, stretch their Christmas tree boundaries a bit. Maybe a Japanese maple might be the choice for you.
Ooh,
Oh,
that
my-
would look great.
My mother-in-law
some-
used to use a giant Ficus benjamina. It's absolutely stunning.
My aunt has done that before because she has a huge one.
So those are the kind of things you can do and think outside the Christmas box, so to speak, and get some double use. It's it's always because I would tell you the cut trees or what are in the industry known as live trees.
They're dead.
A live tree has been cut off. A living tree still has a root ball on
Yeah.
it. So there's the distinction. They cost about the same money.
Yeah.
So
That's why I buy one in a pot every year.
Yeah,
Usually it's Monrovia.
now,
Fancy.
one thing that must be noted is that living Christmas trees, the ones you will want to plant after Christmas, they cannot go in the house for weeks.
Nope.
Matter of fact, you ought to keep it to a week to 10 days at most and keep the room temperature cool. You got to really remember to keep it watered well. Ice cubes is a great thing to water that root ball with so that it keeps it dormant. You don't want it to break dormancy. That's the whole thing. And then you can go outside, and you don't want it to get dry either. So ice cubes is a real good thing to facilitate both of those needs. And then you can move it back out maybe into the garage for a week or so to have that transition I was talking about earlier, but get it out of the house, transition, and But what's really important, Josh, is what? Dig the hole first.
Yes.
While the weather is nice, and generally it is before Christmas, get out there and dig the hole where it's going to be planted.
It's a good reindeer trap, too.
And if you've got a wheelbarrow that you're not using for anything else, just put the dirt in a wheelbarrow, or put a tarp out there and shovel it on that and cover it over.
Yep.
Those are good little tips and tricks to help you ensure that you're going to be able to get your tree planted after Christmas at the time that works for you. Because you never know what it's going to be like after Christmas.
And it's little now. Push it out into the yard a little further than you think you want to put it. Some of these will get absolutely monstrous.
That's true. I had a gentleman I was speaking with the other day that, the biggest culprit that we see in the landscape are these gold mop cypress.
Yeah.
They look so innocent.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Little
a small little dwarf thing. And then decade passes by, and how did this thing, it's growing over the sidewalk. So, they can create problems so be apprised. That's where we come in, because we've got this information and we can help you figure out what to plant, where to plant it, and how to get it in the right place the first time. So,
Yeah, I mean, let's think about it. All the trees that we sell for the Christmas time that are the live Christmas tree, like alive Christmas trees, are living Christmas trees: Norway spruce, white pine, and hemlock. All three of those plants get huge.
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 Giant.
50 foot or better.
yeah,
all
so
three of them.
don't put it
Huge.
like right on the corner of your house.
No.
So, matter of fact, it ought to be. I know people who have planted them for like 15 or 16 years, and they have this descending height conifer hedge
Oh, yeah.
where they started in the back and they just like move it up like 10 feet and then they start growing together. So, it's a good way to do it. And it's, it takes some time.
Uh-huh.
And
Then
you
you can repurpose it and send it to the governor's mansion at Christmas time.
You
'Cause-
could.
yes.
See, I haven't known anybody personally that's done that.
Oh, really?
But,
Okay.
But I've known, I know every year when they go for this search, you can donate a tree out of your yard.
Oh, okay.
For
It's a great tradition, though. Like last year, I met a man and his grandson who was 14 years old. And for 14 years, they have done this. Bought a living Christmas tree and planted it in the yard. And they bought a Norway spruce last year. And like I said, his grandson was 14 years old. He was still excited to be out here and picking out a tree. And they've got 13 other trees in their yard, which is great. Like, what a good tradition.
That
And
is.
at 14, he can dig the hole now.
That's right.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Grandpa's
He
not
better.
strong.
officially
Yeah.
strong enough to do that.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So,
He can do it. Yep, I'm on year 4 of my Christmas trees. My yard's going to be full. Hey, we're already getting some fun comments in. So back around to talking about our decorations that we have, why we've cleared out part of the back greenhouse. Joyce says, if it's your holiday party, I have a great idea for a fun drinking game. Play Austin's Boot Camp on shade shrubs and drink every time he says, like I said.
Joyce, what?
Oh, Joyce. that's-
Really, Joyce?
we would
First
have
off,
to bring
I
cots.
haven't watched it yet.
We would
Yeah.
have to bring cots out for everyone to stay over, and we don't want to do that.
Uber bus.
Joyce is straight up calling me out. But at the same time, Joyce, you watched it. So thank you.
Yeah, I heard it was a great webinar. I have not watched it yet, but go ahead and tell them all about your webinar.
It was a
For
good
people
one.
watching.
It was fun. It was a shade-loving, evergreen webinar. Okay, We're
Like I
getting into-
said,
Like I said.
Like I said,
it's.
well, there's only one person there. Who else would have said it?
I know,
Like
and
I
now I'm
said.
self-conscious about it.
don't
Thanks,
be
Joyce.
self-conscious about it.
It was good.
Yeah,
I
it's a
mean,
great
it
webinar.
was a good webinar. Yeah, almost talked for an hour. An hour just goes. We're getting into webinar season, y'all. So if you haven't started watching our Bates Botanical Boot Camp webinars, they're good. It's just we just give y'all info. We just nerd out on plants.
We do. We talk about outdoor plants, house plants, composting, all of the, we cover all the topics. If you have something that you would like us to cover, you can always email us that or just DM us and let us know.
No, are we still doing it where you can have people live to do questions in during the broadcast when it's being recorded? Are we still doing
Yes,
it that
we're
way?
going.
Okay.
We're doing that, but we're going straight to YouTube now live instead of Zoom.
I got
and
you.
we've scheduled. Right now, there's nothing scheduled. That was the only one, but we are going to schedule more.
We're getting ready to schedule our schedule to schedule more.
That's right. And
No point in
so
putting it off.
whenever those
No.
are scheduled,
Like I
that's
said.
where they will be broadcasted live to you to watch.
You can also
and
always
comment.
watch the old ones too. So
yeah.
you don't
Oh,
have
yeah,
to watch
they're
it live.
great.
We archive everything.
Right, and we have a whole cast of characters
Oh, we do.
Also,
on there. Yes.
Renee has even done a few webinars. She
She
did
has
orchids,
indeed.
and I
She
believe
has
she did
indeed,
amaryllis
yeah.
as well.
Yep.
Speaking of Renee, I would be remiss if I didn't mention this, is that, the West Nashville Art Crawl is going on today.
Wow.
And there's, I think, a dozen or more different artists in the West Nashville area.
Oh, wow.
And I think you can go to West Nashville Art Crawl. Maybe it's .org. I'm not sure if it's that or .com. Anyway,
You'll find it, yeah.
all of the artists are listed out there, and Renee is on that list. So if you want to come
She's
by,
quite talented, by the way.
she
Very
just-
talented. You should
and,
see her.
and
work,
the
folks.
lack of explanation for how she picked me, I don't really know how that happened.
She
but-
settled.
Well,
Josh.
I'd say
Wow.
that's probably accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably accurate.
Well, you
I-
outkicked your coverage.
I
Actually.
absolutely did.
So did I. So,
Yes,
I mean,
well, it's I've always been very comfortable with the fact that I married up.
yes.
So anyway, that's not what the point of all this is. The point is go out and support all the West Nashville artists. A lot of great gift ideas and those kind of things, not just with Renee, but with the
All of
entire group of them. There's a
Yes.
lot of, and all different kinds of, not just necessarily paintings and that. There's jewelry and there's pottery and all kinds of things. So check it out, West Nashville Art Crawl. So
I just threw it up there.
there you are.
Oh, wonderful.
Good job, Tyler.
Very good. He's
Tyler is on
on
it
top
this
of it.
morning.
he is. He's
Always.
got his
His hair
A
might have been
game.
a little wild, but
Yeah.
hey, Joyce did comment and say that's the name of his new segment, Like I Said
Like
with
I
Austin.
Like I said.
I
said.
love that, Joyce.
That's not bad, actually. That's kind of clever.
Like I said.
Like I said, I like it. Okay, Joyce.
All right, somebody start marking down how many times he accidentally says it throughout the show today. But let's get to questions because we have quite a few right now. Should we be watering new shrubs and trees through the winter if it's above freezing?
Yes.
I mean, yes, to an extent.
I mean, particularly if you're just planting.
if you just plant it, for sure, you
Yeah.
need to soak it thoroughly the first time you plant it. I always say this, like right when you plant it, if you get the first watering right, like you're setting yourself up good
For
you
success.
yes, you really need to soak it though thoroughly the
Drown
first
it.
time you plant it. Yeah, and then you really just kind of it really depends on the weather. It depends on what it is. There's a lot of things. Watering is the hardest thing to teach.
Now there is
is.
one area that's very important that you got to be mindful of throughout the winter. If you've got, even if there are conifers that are or deciduous plants that are very winter hardy, before you have a severe freeze, you need to water. You need to soak it thoroughly. And what you're trying to do, you say, well, won't that freeze? Well, yes, it will freeze. But what you're doing is you're filling the airspace in the soil with water, and that wet soil, the temperature changes much more slowly than it does when it's dry.
Yes.
So and the roots don't get dehydrated nearly as bad. So water it just before you're having a big freeze, and then after you come out of it, water it again. So if you'll do those things, you'll greatly mitigate the damage that can occur. Also, you need to make good choices when you're planting things in containers. So don't plant things that are, as a general rule, broadleaves are not a good choice. We have gotten away with boxwoods being in them for a lot of years, but even those on severe years will get damaged. So there's that.
Yeah.
Wonderful. How about this? Thoughts on bringing heuchera inside for the winter? I say no. I keep
Why?
mine outside all year round in pots and in the
Yeah,
ground.
and it's not going to freeze out even in a container. I mean, even if you
No.
don't plant it.
It'll be fine. My heuchera that's in my mixed containers this morning, I mean, all the leaves were frozen, but they're going to thaw out and be fine. They're going to be
But
great.
let's also be honest. Like, if you wanted to bring a heuchera inside, what is the real problem with that?
I mean, you could do it.
I mean, we bring in the most tropical of tropical plants inside our home all the time for houseplants.
Yeah,
Like,
we're not saying you can't do it.
exactly.
But
Exactly.
you probably
So-
don't need to do
You
it.
don't need to.
But what if they really want to?
I mean, if they want to have a heuchera as a houseplant, I say do it.
Yeah, put it in a window with good light and grow it as a houseplant.
We're
Why not?
not here to put guardrails on people's lives.
That's right.
No, we're not.
If this is
can
what
do what
you're
you want.
into, go for it. You know, we won't judge you harshly.
No.
We would never,
Publicly.
never
Nor
on this
publicly.
show.
No.
Really?
Far be it from us.
No. But if you were going to bring that heuchera, into the house.
Well, you might want to consider
plant it.
transplanting it. You could do that, and by using Earth Mix garden products, you give yourself an opportunity to
really
grow
make it thrive.
Yes. You know, we like to say success begins at the ground level, and because that's where Earth Mix exists, at the ground level. When you plant plants, you really should think about using Earth Mix. Earth Mix is 100% organic. It's made right here in Nashville, Tennessee. It has no chemicals. It has no additives that are not naturally found.
Right.
It has only things like endo and ectomycorrhiza fungi and other organic type of nutritional additives such as elemental sulfur. So all these things are great. They add greatly to the overall health and viability of the soil. See, soils are a living substrate that your plant goes in, and your plant generally does about as well as the soil will allow. If you buy what I would call the most expensive soil you can buy, which is usually the really, really cheap ones, they will barely grow weeds. And Earth Mix takes a different approach. It's the most productive and it's the most viable and healthy soil that you can get. So check it out. Earth Mix is available all over Middle Tennessee, Kentucky. Go to the Find Earth Mix tab at earthmix.net, and there you will see all of these represent places that have it, and there are many of them on top of each other. You can best find some location near you by going to the search box and typing in an address, and that'll give you turn-by-turn directions to the location nearest you. You could be out in Idaho at Victory Gardens, and coming soon in the spring, we're going to have another seller out in Crested Butte, Colorado, so we're looking forward to that. From North Carolina to Alabama, throughout Tennessee and Kentucky, you need to check it out at earthmix.net. Just remember this, as I said at the beginning, success begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix garden products. And there's a mix or an amendment for every application you're trying to do. If you're looking for indoor plant mix, Proganics I is the clear choice. All these are peat-free. And you might wonder, what difference does that make? Well, particularly on indoor plants, there's this little thing called fungus gnats that they're not really damaging to plants, but they are annoying to humans. They kind of get in your nose and in your eyes, and you don't ever get that with coconut coir, which is the replacement that we use for peat moss. So check that out. All the locations for Earth Mix at earthmix.net. So thank you for giving us a couple of minutes to talk about that and to help you with your gardening efforts. It really does take the work out of gardening, and it really increases your chances for success. That's what gardening's all about. It's much less on the luck side when you stack the deck in your favor.
Absolutely.
That's what we're all about, is helping you stack that deck in your favor and have really good success.
Perfect.
All right.
And I'll just jump in here while we're talking about Earth Mix. And later today, until 2 p.m., I will be in Clarksville, Tennessee, at the Earth Mix booth at the Tennessee Local Food Summit. So you can come check out Earth Mix products in person. If you haven't had a chance to try them, maybe I'll give you a bag if you want a bag of our garden premium topsoil blend, and just chat about plants and dirt, because this event is really great, especially if you're a gardener, grower, farmer, just somebody who's interested in learning more about our local food chain and the people who are a part of it. It's a really great event.
Thank you, Tyler. We really appreciate you go out there and representing the Earth Mix brand so well, and talking about the virtues associated with having a great soil and growing it yourself. That season will be here again before you know it. We'll be having people asking about, can I put seeds out yet? Can I get those germinated? It'll be here before you know it. Winter doesn't last very long anymore. It doesn't seem like.
Nope.
But
sometimes it feels like it lasts.
I bet we got more questions, though.
Oh, boy, do we.
Yes,
We've
we
got
do.
a question that just came in from Sherry. Is it too late to apply dormant oil? Also, my tree still has leaves at the top. If I can apply if I can apply it. Can I apply it with leaves?
Well, the key with dormant oil is the word dormant. We want it to be dormant, and your leaves are probably like if there's a few leaves at the top and they're like crispy
Not
and
really
about to fall
not
off.
gonna matter.
Not gonna matter if you do that. So yeah, I mean, if you want to go ahead and get your dormant oil on, go ahead and do it. It's that time. I mean, you might even do it twice over the winter time. It doesn't hurt.
And today would be a really good day because it's not too cold.
Not really windy.
Nope, it's not going to be very windy, so it's really excellent conditions for getting that done. And there's no, in my opinion, Austin, I don't think there's any spraying that you can do in your landscape or in your, maybe you have a little small home orchard, that kind of thing. There's nothing you can do that's more beneficial and more effective at controlling pests in your garden and in your yard than dormant oil, and it's very safe. It's very benign to the user, so you don't have to worry about it anything with regards to the application of it. It's very easy, very safe product, and really what it does, it makes a film of oil all over the leaves, and or if it's a conifer, all over the stems, and it suffocates whatever is on there.
Yeah, exactly. There's no active like chemical in it. It's a suffocation method.
It's a slow, agonizing death for those.
Oh my gosh,
for those pests.
Sounds so sad.
But we don't want though. We don't want the overwintering eggs to be alive.
No. They don't know that they're slowly dying, but they are.
Oh.
Yeah. But anybody growing fruit, anybody that's growing fruit is applying dormant oil over the winter.
Absolutely.
It's part of the process, okay? And getting your pruning done. So typically we're going to get our pruning done first. That way you're not just spraying stems that you're going to cut off anyway. Like prune your fruit trees first and then apply the dormant oil.
There you go.
Wonderful. You know all about that. Yeah. You also know all about hydrangeas.
Yes.
And we have some hydrangea questions.
Yay.
Imagine that.
Big leaf hydrangea has frozen leaves that are shriveled.
Yeah, they do.
Oh no. Should I cut stems and or remaining blooms?
No. The big leaf hydrangea is one we don't cut, y'all. Don't do it. You can strip those leaves off because they look awful. We've got a ton of big leaf hydrangeas in the bait stream right now, and they look so bad. You just want to go in and strip off every leaf because the leaves look horrible. But that's okay. It's part of it. The leaves are going to look horrible this time of year. If you want to go in, strip the leaves off, you can do that. Leave those sticks up, all the way up. Don't cut anything, okay? I know, y'all, they look bad. The dormant sticks look horrible. That's just part of it, though. You got to leave them up.
But if
they
you look,
bloom off of those old sticks.
If you look carefully, you'll see those
buds.
little buds right there on them. You have to look carefully, though, and but they are there. If you cut that off, guess what? No buds.
That's right. And that's part of your bloom set next year. So you're lessening that.
The reflowering types would indeed reset buds, but you know, if you don't want to lose the first one in the spring, you know, so don't cut those.
Leave them up.
Yep.
Leave them up. Okay. When should I prune my incredible hydrangeas?
Anytime from now until they crack in the spring.
Yep.
I mean, literally, it's time. They're dormant. I know I've got them at the house. Mine are dormant. And they're just showing sticks.
And this is where it's worth giving just a little bit of explanation, Austin, about the difference between, you talked about the big leaf hydrangeas, the macrophylla, and the incredible hydrangeas, which is an Annabelle cultivar. Arborescens, thank you.
Yep.
And so why would you not prune one now, and you definitely would want to prune the other one now if you could?
It's because of the wood that they bloom on. Okay, so if you cut the big leaf hydrangeas, like we just talked about, if you cut those, you're getting rid of buds that are going to produce flowers, okay?
They've already set.
They've already set, yeah. So the Annabelle types, the arborescens types, which is your Incredibles or your Annabelles, like David grows, those bloom off current year's wood. So you could literally cut them to the ground. They would send up sucker sprouts from the ground, very brand new stems, and they would still bloom off of those stems.
That is actually what we do at my house. We cut them to maybe 6 inches from the ground every year.
Just clear cut them. Yeah, some people hate the sticks so much over the winter that they do that. They just clear cut them to the ground and they come back. I've got Incredible, like I said, for the past 4 or 5 years now. And those sucker stems are amazingly vigorous. Like, they come from the ground and they get taller than the actual stems that were on the other sticks. Does that make sense?
And the great thing about doing that, cutting nearly to the ground, is that's the only time you have to trim them the entire season.
Exactly.
You cut them then
once a year.
That's it. You're done. And we saw a photograph. I think your mom had a patio tree in her yard that you cut back severely. And while it is true, it may reduce the size of the flowers that come out on it. What you gain in those, you get a lot more numbers of them and much more dense branching. They're much less susceptible to laying over and getting weighted down with water into the summer when we have these thunderstorms, that kind of thing.
Now, just as a suggestion, you guys are experts, obviously, and you deal with this. Folks, go out there and buy a little leather book, one of those little blank books. Make yourself a little journal on some of this kind of stuff because it confuses me every single year. What hydrangea do we cut and which ones we don't cut? So you just make a note first time and you know what.
I'm pretty sure Austin's got a webinar out there somewhere about this.
You can watch Hydrangeas 101.
There it is.
Like I said, go out and watch my hydrangea pruning video because we sell technically we sell I guess about 6 different species of hydrangea, but 5 are being the biggest. And I did a whole webinar on that, and you can watch it once and write it down, and you'll know forever which ones to prune and which ones not to.
It's pretty intuitive when you start thinking about it in terms of when they set bud, and or if you know, the other type that we haven't mentioned today are the oak leaf type of, and those sometimes I've got those at my house also. You know, the silver queen or that are supposed to be kind of a dwarf one. They don't look very dwarf.
Dwarf is relative.
Yeah, we wind up having to cut those every 2 or 3 years pretty severely. So we sacrifice our flowers
For a year.
just so we can keep them in bounds, and it works really well. And, you know, it's not a big deal. So you just know what you're getting into. It's all good.
I put the name of the video up.
Thanks, Tyler.
Wonderful.
Hydrangea Pruning Masterclass.
While we're on like the
Masterclass.
Austin topic, we did skip over your segment. Are we doing one today?
We don't really have a segment yet, although we have an idea.
Like I said,
Well, Joyce's idea was
I know
great.
Joyce's idea was great, but we.
So what do you want to say?
Colin submitted an idea
Yes.
too.
Goat
We've
plants.
had a number of good ideas, okay? Pam, you came in the other day from Clarksville. You had a good idea. There's been a lot of ideas. Joyce, you've had an idea too now. Thanks. And Colin had an idea of talking about when it comes to the goat when it comes to plants, okay? The greatest of all time when it comes to plants. So I thought this is kind of a good idea. And this week I was going to segue into I just did this webinar on shade-loving evergreens, okay? And I was going to talk about the goat of shade-loving evergreens. Does that sound like a plan? Is that okay?
Yes, talk about it.
Yeah?
We love it.
Okay, you know what?
Go for it.
Vanna White, get over there and show us
I'm
that.
not getting up.
Look, no, you don't have to get up. Just point. Do the
To
hand.
which one?
The rhododendron.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Rhododendron. Look at it. Look, it just looks green right now. It's just
Ride 'em,
green.
cowboy.
Is
And like
it
we
really?
talked about
'Cause they
with
all die here.
No, they don't.
Okay, I have 2
Well-
out of 8.
No.
Not
the
the
key is,
flower
and what I talked about in the webinar,
Actually 9.
is finding the right spot for rhododendron.
Yep.
Okay, you don't need more than one rhododendron. One rhododendron is the showstopper.
And
That's the one you
personally,
want.
for me, I would only plant Roseum elegans.
And that's a great cultivar.
Rosie.
You know, there are other colors you might rather have a white one or a red one.
color
Roseum
is this
elegans
one?
is just the one that lives and does the best here. Now, the downside, and you kind of alluded to it, Austin, is that if it does well, it's going to get huge.
Yes.
I mean, it will take over.
Yes.
It's a growing machine once it's established, but it does live well. I have never seen any of the other ones. I've seen them live, but they more or less exist. Much of that has to do with not doing proper soil preparation.
I went over that in that webinar for sure. I said your soil prep is crucial. In Middle Tennessee, when it comes to rhododendron, they do not want a heavy, wet clay environment at all. They don't really want clay at all. They're a very fibrous root system. They need to penetrate through your soil. It needs to be a good, nutrient-rich soil.
And while we're on that topic, all azaleas are rhododendron, but not
Exactly.
all rhododendron are azaleas.
right.
So ponder on that one for a
Yeah.
minute.
Put that one in the book.
But the same rules apply to the soil preparation and the critical nature of it. If you don't do proper soil preparation, now I have seen many times people with a cartload of azaleas or rhododendron, and they go, "Oh no, I have good dirt." You know, you should put some of those plants back and just get enough of because you only have the opportunity to do the soil prep for planting when you're planting. You can't do it after the fact. You got to do it then. And also don't forget to plant them a little bit high. You don't ever want them to have wet feet.
Nope.
No, not at all. So anyway, Yeah,
So
when
that's
it comes to the goat, of an evergreen flowering plant, rhododendron is the thing. And hey, Joyce, like I said, rhododendron's the goat. Count it.
Yes.
Count it, Joyce.
I think that's 3 so far today.
Probably 8.
Joyce is over there getting drunk.
They drinking one choice.
Yeah, Joyce.
Do you have any rhododendron at your house?
Negative.
Negative.
Well, I do have a deciduous azalea, so
That's true,
technically
yeah.
a rhododendron.
Well, the botanical name does begin with rhododendron.
It is. I mean, it's technically a rhododendron. I talked about that in the webinar. Y'all check it out.
I do have a ton of those. Hey, let's get to a picture. I know Emily Boyd sent us a picture.
Emily!
Good morning, Emily. Emily says, Tyler, are you ready? Just making sure. Oh my gosh,
it?
so
There it
ready.
is.
I told Austin earlier this week that I'd send a picture of my coral bark Japanese maple that I bought from Bates this summer. It was beautiful this fall. Now get it in the ground.
Yes.
You folks are awesome. You certainly helped me be a better gardener. Thank you so much.
Showstopper.
Emily,
right
that
there,
is
bro.
beautiful.
That is gorgeous.
And it's getting ready to get even more beautiful because
Exactly.
the cold weather is really what brings out the red in those stems. So
I just noticed that in mine. It like blew my mind. I was like, how evenly red it could be.
Is that where it's
I had
going to
no
live,
idea.
Emily? Right there by the fence like that?
I bet she's going to put that somewhere else.
Pull it out.
If I know Emily.
I would think so.
But look at the yellow.
Emily knows
Gosh.
what she's doing.
Absolutely stunning.
You know what's so funny about Japanese maples is that you can have 2 coral bark Japanese maples and they can look totally different. Like that's solid yellow. A lot of times I see orange. A lot of times you'll see red in the leaves before they drop, and that's just like solid yellow. It's so cool.
I love Japanese
Nature's
maple.
cool.
Nature is very cool. You never know. You never know what nature's going to do.
It looked like an Isley tag, too.
Probably.
It probably was. All right, Tyler, what we got next?
Let's go to Pam Eldridge.
All right.
Hey, Pam.
being, out of the country
Yeah.
under a tree fern.
A tree fern. So Pam is in New Zealand.
Oh, look at that.
That's awful.
That is amazing.
Wow.
that really is amazing.
Pam, it
You're
looks
so
like you're having
lucky.
the best time.
You got a fern
That is
below
quite
you and
a
fern
stance,
up.
too. Let's talk about that
I
stance.
believe that is
I
a
love it.
Tasmanian fern or maybe an Australian tree fern, but
It looks kind of like Tasmanian. They grow a little bit
more
downward,
compact.
yeah.
Look, there's a fern below her, a fern above her.
There's ferns everywhere.
You look like you're in a prehistoric jungle.
Pam is in the forest
I
or the
love it.
jungle. Yeah, I
She
do
has
too.
to watch out for hobbits and all that kind of stuff over there.
and she also
too, yeah.
mentioned how good the roses look there.
Good.
Wow.
Don't even show me that.
That doesn't
Too
look
late.
real.
That's yeah. Oh, look at the
Austin, you wish you
buds.
could
Yeah,
have
they're
that
gonna
here.
go swell
Can
and
you can
pop.
you can just imagine the fragrance that has.
Imagine it. And look, there's no black spots on the leaves. That's certainly not Middle Tennessee.
No.
Gosh,
Nope.
it's so clean. I want that. I'm moving. I'm moving to where is she? Tasmania.
New Zealand.
I'm moving to New
Tasmania.
Zealand.
But Tasmania is pretty close.
It's close enough, right?
But it was the fern that got you. The fern talk. Wow, I love that.
That was.
Are we still
fantastic.
photoing?
Let's-
Sure, Tyler.
Okay.
Put it up, man.
Caroline,
What, Caroline? What do you want?
I was going to get to another question, but
Oh,
go ahead.
okay.
We'll split it up. It's fun.
It is fun.
It is.
It's very fun.
While we're on the fern topic, my foxtail ferns are growing sideways instead of up.
oh no.
Thoughts?
Wag your tail. I got
Could be lighting. That would be my first thought.
I did
but
send you a picture of the foxtail fern
yes,
at our
gorgeous.
house.
And yours was very upright.
very much. It must be always at a window and it never gets turned, and that's why it's growing sideways. is
Probably, yeah.
because it's directionally challenged, and it only knows where the sun is. And
And so it's just, I had somebody bring in a Sansevieria for me to clean up and repot here at the nursery the other day. And it was a gorgeous one, but the back half was upright, part of it was upright, and then the other half was growing out. So obviously they had never turned that Sansevieria. So the stuff that wasn't getting sun was trying to find it, and it was actually longer, but it was spilling over the side of the pot. Whereas the side that was closest to the window
yeah, there
was
probably
upright.
is a market for, we've got the little turntable here in the
Yeah.
studio, but for one that only makes one revolution about every 3 days.
That'd be a good idea.
Where that it just slowly turns. You don't even notice it, except that it does turn and it keeps the light even all the way around.
David, I think you should make
Let's
this happen.
make that happen.
And we'll sell
We're
them
gonna
here.
patent it.
It's all about gear ratios.
And we could put them on a shelf here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center.
Well, I mean,
That's a good idea.
I just came up with that one, so we'll
like it.
see.
I think
Okay.
you should keep going
And
with it.
if we have viewers somewhere else, like in China
Elon
or
Musk.
whatever,
Come on, Elon. I mean, Come on, we're going to get it in here.
Don't take that idea. But, you know,
X-Pot.
if we did that, where could you sell it?
Well, thank you for the segue. And we are well equipped. We are well equipped to sell a lot of things plant related here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center, and we do all plants for all year long. I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of plants you're talking about. We sell them, and more than that, you know, we've got this newsletter that I've been doing for about 16 years or so, and I gratefully there's a lot of folks who subscribe to it, where we appreciate that very much, and it gives me an opportunity to help pass some, you know, seasonal gardening tips along, and like at this time of year are really good sale type things,
buddy.
and we have got really a dandy sale going on right now. If you look at what we have on hand, we have our complete list of plants. Read all about it. We're going to just do that. We'll go to the plants there, and everything we have that is a plant.
Really?
Now, that narrows it way down. Now, you say, well, what is a plant?
What's a plant?
Well, it could be a tree, it could be a shrub, it could be a poinsettia.
A poinsettia?
It could be it could be a living Christmas tree.
Yes, it could.
It could be general landscape plants. Anything we've got with that is a plant, and that's pretty much all those green and growing things.
Wow.
25% off.
Oh, man.
But you got to be a Bates Rewards member.
Oh, I'm not a Bates. How do you do
Well,
that?
you just sign
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
really quick. We
Oh,
don't
okay.
share your information with anyone. It's just you and us, and you get the first word on all the deals, all the
Absolutely.
gardening tips and tricks you need to be thinking about, as well as the fact that we're on this program every Saturday morning. So check that out as you come through. And if you haven't signed up already, you can just sign up then. It's very quick, 30 seconds. It's all done. So check that out over at batesnursery.com. You can read all about what's going on in the garden with Bates Nursery. And we also have over in Caroline's area, great selection of things. You could just red tab on the top. You can view that. It gives you an idea of all the different things that we have available. Poinsettia, Christmas cactus. We have the Norfolk Island pines. We've got all manner of things. So check all that out on our page. And if you cannot decide, you know, I know they're into gardening. I want to do something, and maybe I don't even have time to get out to Whites Creek Pike.
Why not?
Well, just go over to batesnursery.com and click on the gift cards, and you click on that, and it brings up the gift cards, and you have all these different amounts you can choose from to give a gift card for whatever denomination that suits your budget and the needs of the gardener. So check that out. And you don't have to come out. It gets emailed directly to them.
Oh.
So it makes it nice and easy for you. So check that out over at batesnursery.com and just look for the gift cards tab right at the top of the page.
And they don't expire either.
They do not expire.
Wow.
Even if I do, they don't.
They don't.
Maybe that needs to be the new tagline.
Yes.
All right, so check it out, batesnursery.com. All our sale items, by the way, as you'll see in the article, are in-store only. So those, you get that 25% off, you got to come in to get those. So check it out, batesnursery.com, for the selection of everything we have, and you can actually come out and pick it up. So thank you for giving us a couple of moments to talk about that, and Caroline for reminding me that it was time to do that.
You're welcome. We have a big clock right there, so I looked at it. I was
Is the
like,
clock
uh-oh.
off?
No,
No, the clock's on. It's
Okay.
running great.
We were all just into the show so much, so we weren't looking at the
I
clock.
had obviously the tab up there, but I just wasn't. You know, I had kind of.
We were
drifted
in the
off.
conversation.
He was in the
drifted
zone,
off.
David Bates.
I drifted off.
Okay.
Let's drift off into what we have before us.
Let's do it.
What's
Top.
in room with Caroline? There we go.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked about Austin's webinar of the shade-loving evergreens that he did a couple days ago. So we actually have those plants that he talked about in here. So I'm going to let him start the tour.
Oh.
Take it away.
Okay. Surprise. Here we go.
Whoa.
All right. Look, y'all, it's random. It's very, very random today because I had to talk about individual plants. Okay. So we have individuals. We rarely ever do that. We typically pick a plant and have like 5 to 10 of them or something, you know? Today we didn't do that. Okay. So go over your left shoulder, Caroline. We've got Pieris. All right. Talked about Pieris. What a great little plant if it finds the right spot.
It's so
It's
pretty
kinda
when they're
picky.
blooming here at the nursery. It makes me want them, but then I don't.
Yeah,
I don't.
and in my webinar, I talked about that being a little bit of a picky plant, but that's okay. It's okay. Rhododendron right next to it, the goat, like I talked about earlier.
Yeah.
We've got dog hobble.
They're what?
Dog
That's a common
hobble.
name. That's hilarious
Really?
to me.
I've never heard that
Yeah,
common
yeah,
name.
yeah.
Lakothaway is the genus dog hobble.
Yeah, dog hobble is actually more difficult to say and
It is.
spell than
Dog
Lakothaway.
hobble.
It probably
Dog
is.
hobble.
Yes, dog hobble.
I
Dog
actually-
hobble.
Y'all
I
say
actually-
it.
Dog
Dog
hobble.
hobble. I
Yeah.
never knew that was even a common name.
It is.
For it.
I know. Isn't that weird?
You got to be
What?
dog. Dog humble.
Dog hobble. Okay, next to that, cast iron plant. Next to that, Cuba,
Ah.
which is a deep shade loving plant.
He's
Then
going
we've
so
got-
fast.
Hold on, I'm not even,
Tyler.
doing the
Gotcha.
camera.
Okay.
Can't even
Tyler,
keep
what were
up,
you
man.
doing?
Cast iron.
Cast iron, the leafy one.
Okay.
Okay.
And a Cuba.
And then a Cuba that David's touching with the splash of yellow. It's always good. To the right of that, osmanthus
Probably the best shade plant that gives you some color. I
for
mean,
deep shade.
It looks
loves the
tropical,
deep
too.
Shade, yes. And then osmanthus right next to David's head right
Yeah.
there. The best smelling
Smelling.
plant on the planet. And then camellia behind that, starting to lose its blooms a little bit, but they are
Yep.
money, looking great. And then out in front, we've got the other stragglers.
Out
We've
in
got-
front.
Here
Nah.
goes.
There we go. We got laurel. We've got
Hardy.
Elysium.
Just kidding.
Elysium smells funny.
Listen.
Azalea out in
blooms
front of
smell
that.
terrible.
Technically a rhododendron, like David said earlier. Azalea, and then plum yew over to the side. You see the needle-like plum yew. What a great plant. And then another laurel over there, different species or a different cultivar altogether. And that's what I've got, Caroline. What do you have in this room? Because you did it too.
What I have is the Gold Cascade Deodar cedar up on the table here.
a
So
fantastic
look
plant.
at that. It looks kind of like a monster. I think we actually brought these in for a Halloween broadcast because I was like, it looks like spiders. I really want one of these. One day I will bite the bullet and get it.
Austin,
But just if you,
sorry, stick your sunnies in it, please.
Sunnies?
Yeah, stick your sunnies in the plant.
Okay.
there we go.
Look at how cool.
Yeah.
But if you look at pictures of these when they're very mature, I mean, it's stunning. It's a specimen.
Unlike
it's
us.
a traffic stopper.
we are
You
not
should
very
see this
mature.
label. Yeah, you can't
Do
see the
yourself a
image.
favor. If you're not, or if you are on Instagram, follow Isley Nursery. This is where these came from, and they do walkthroughs of their gardens, and they have a lot of these that are really mature and really big. And it's my favorite Instagram page. It's just other than Bates and Gardening Inside Out, of course.
Well, I mean,
but they are fantastic.
Isley Nursery, I have gotten to tour there on multiple occasions, and it is it's a candy store for plant lovers. And unfortunately, most homeowners won't. You can walk through their little display gardens, but getting to do the entire tour of the nursery, particularly with Andre Isley back in the day, it's quite an adventure.
Was he a giant?
No,
Just in his industry.
but we buried his Toyota 4Runner up to the under panel in the mud
Oh.
while we were there, so we had to carefully get out, and I had about forgotten about that.
This little guy gets 8 feet tall and 15 feet wide, is what it's saying. If we get into the right spot.
Yeah, so
They like to
He's
spread.
little
that's the
bitty
thing.
guy.
That's the
You
thing
think it's gonna
about
be a monster,
conifers.
man.
You gotta read a tag on conifers and believe you have
Every
some
word.
Yeah, because they have this ability to go punk.
Yeah.
And it seems to happen 3 to 5 years into it.
Yeah.
All of a sudden they change direction and go, no, we're going to go up for a while.
We're going this way now.
They explode. Like there's no two that are alike.
Yeah.
They all
That's
take their
very
own
true.
shape.
I love them. But y'all look up the Isley Instagram because it is. I think they also have a Facebook. So if you're just on Facebook, search Isley Nursery and look at their walkthroughs. It's with gorgeous music. A lot of time it's snowing in the videos. It's the best. And then we've got Blue Star Juniper right in front of our feature plant. Look at the color contrast there.
Yep.
Like Ben would say, it's natural. What does he say?
Burple.
Burple.
Yeah, he
Burple.
calls that purple.
Blurple.
That is a dwarf conifer that will actually stay dwarf. However.
It
does, yeah.
It is a small mounting plant. Really, really nice.
Gorgeous.
Very cute.
like
I
that.
really like that.
I have two side by
And
side.
the color you're seeing on the camera is real.
It's true,
It's true to
what
life.
it looks like in real life. And then in the corners, we've got, I believe that's a cryptomeria, am I right?
yeah.
That we drug in. We brought these in. One, they're very pretty and very tall, but also they are right outside the green room door. They were very close.
Easy to bring
That
them in.
makes it a lot easier to put back, doesn't it?
It does. You just go right out. And our featured plant today, we brought in a hellebore. This was the one that Austin talked about on his webinar. This is Honeymoon Rose in Red hellebore.
What a name.
What a name. And this is something that's going to give you foliage through the winter. It stays up all year, but then it's going to be one of the first things to bloom at the end of winter,
If not
very,
the
very
first.
beginning of spring. Correct. So add this to your shade bed. I wonder what blooms first, this or paper bush? Probably hellebore.
I would say, like Arnold's Promise,
First thing in my yard.
Witch hazel.
Every
Witch
year.
hazel.
Witch hazel.
Yeah,
Witch
that
hazel's
was
up
the
there.
first thing in my yard as well.
Whoa. Just having
Zooming in,
fun with the
Tyler.
camera.
Wow.
Yeah, that turned off a few viewers right there.
No, I think it got more people on. But let's go ahead and talk about more questions because we do have quite a bit.
Yes.
We got a lot of live questions coming in. So back around to talking about rhododendron. Joyce says, my rhododendron are sad and I don't see buds. They are in the best soil, well draining and amended. I hope they are just too new.
Well, yeah. I mean, a new rhododendron is kind of slow to take. That's just kind of how it is. You know, azaleas are the same way. Very fibrous root system. If you don't get a bloom set on this first year, don't be surprised.
Yeah, don't panic.
No, don't panic at all. I mean, make sure those leaves stay good, Joyce. As long as the leaves are okay now. We're not trying to really, with a new plant, it may not set bud for the first year.
We're shooting for life
Exactly.
the first year.
Yes, we are.
Keep it alive through the first winter.
So I've mentioned that I have planted a lot of rhododendron. I planted 5 in a row, and they sat the same size, not blooming, for 3.5 years. Then they finally bloomed. They didn't grow at all, like height-wise. Then they finally bloomed on the 3rd to 4th year, and then 3 of them died. So then I transplanted the 2 that that survived to a shadier spot. Those are still with the living. They bloom every year, but they have not gotten any bigger. It's wild, but at least I still have them. Rhododendron are just a mystery here in Middle Tennessee.
They're just slow to get there. Okay? Let's be patient. Let's all grow a
We're
rhododendron,
7 years
but
in.
let's be
We're
patient.
7 years into these
It's going to take
rhododendron.
the rest of your life.
Yeah. We might get
Enjoy
a
the
couple
ride.
inches. Yeah. I'm going to buckle in tight. And then talking about Japanese maple. So Emily Boyd said, greetings from Clarksville. Yes, the stems are beautiful. It's just sitting by the fence now so I can see it. Permanent home will be more open. So yes, Joyce will be moving that to a spot where it can really grow.
Emily.
And then Annette is asking, do you think that aging stops the color from being as vibrant? My coral bark is at least 25 years old, and I have noticed it just doesn't turn.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is extremely common. The older wood that's on your plant will not be as vibrant red. The small twiggy stickies are the ones that go the most vibrant.
So,
Twiggy sticky.
yeah.
This
Twiggy
is
sticky.
and this is one of those. This is one of those trees where that if you've got it in the right spot and you want to, you can take loppers and cut it back severely and let all that vegetative green growth. It'll be green stems coming up out of it. It'll dramatically change the shape of it, but you got to do something to stimulate new growth.
Yeah.
When they grow the red and gold twig dogwoods that are grown out in fields, they bush hog those every year.
Wow.
To force them to push all new growth, because the same thing happens to them. Once that wood gets woody
And old.
and old, once it gets that brown look to it that has bark on it, they'll never change again. So you need to keep regenerating new growth.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's, yeah. What are you laughing at?
Joyce
What?
is just commenting left and right, and
Joyce
I'm
is all
really
about it.
loving them. You guys need to get on. If you're not on the Gardening Inside Out Facebook page, get on there. We have a lot of comments and questions coming in.
Yep.
Keep it rolling.
Sheila, I will, Tyler. Sheila is asking, let's talk pansies. I am
Sheila.
hoping mine will survive through the winter. They are tall and lanky. Can they be pinched down to promote density?
Most definitely. Most definitely, Sheila, you need to do that. And go ahead and do it now. Like,
Yeah.
if you got to cut the leg out. I hate things that are leggy, and I can tell you do too. So you know what? Go ahead and pinch it in half. You're probably not going to see a ton of regrowth unless we have some kind of warmer days, and
We will.
When we will. Yeah, it was nice, sunny, warm days. You'll see a little bit of growth, but let's go ahead and cut that leg out. Don't like it.
But
Cut
as
the
soon as
leg
it
out.
starts warming up, I mean, in the late winter,
Yeah,
bang,
they
bang.
bust.
that's when they will explode. They'll be
Yep.
gorgeous, and then you'll be faced with the most difficult dilemma of your gardening life, which happens every year if you plant pansies, is when I don't want to take them out and put my other spring flowers in yet because it's a tough. They do. That's when you need to come get some free old pots and dig them up.
You got free pots out there now.
Yeah, and give them, and that way you can give those pansies to your friends. But I'm talking like May.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Pot them up for your friends.
There you go.
And then Teresa has left a very nice comment on our Facebook page. I've listened to y'all since it was a call-in show. I moved back to Oklahoma, and there aren't much words to explain how much I miss y'all. You have taught me so much, and I just want to say thank you and Merry Christmas.
Therese, what a nice thing to say. From Oklahoma.
We have a lot of gardening friends out there in Oklahoma, people in the industry and otherwise. So it's anybody who can garden in tornado weather like they, I mean, they got to be tough. They got to be tough. So hats off to you. Well, literally.
No, Joyce,
definitely.
it's not free pot at Bates. They have free pots in a rack
Pluralized.
out front. Yes.
Always pluralized.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, let's get to a couple more photos that we were sent.
Let's do it, Tyler.
Oh,
Do it.
Got
Get
it.
it up, man.
That's your cue.
Scramble.
He's got it.
All
Look at
right, so
that.
this comes from Debbie.
Debbie.
Debbie's got it going on.
Debbie does
mixing
have
it
it
up.
going on. Debbie last week was talking about foxtail ferns that she leaves in pots on her front porch.
it.
So this is my porch pots I commented about last week's show. I got to see Debbie at the nursery last week, or maybe it was the beginning of this week. They all run together. But I love that. I feel like that is right up Austin's alley.
Look at, that's the key. Using
Do you
other
hear
things.
the excitement in his voice?
Look, magnolia leaves. I see that. She probably cut that from a tree in her yard. She's got pine cones that are stuck in that pot. You got to. I don't know if those red
twig
sticks.
dogwood?
Red twig dogwood. She probably cut that from the yard.
Yep,
And then she's got ivy actually living, growing beneath it. What a successful mixed container.
Stunning.
It's
I
stunning.
really love that.
I'm into
Great
it.
front door, too.
And a front door, the garland.
Look at the garland. Look at
Hey.
the wreaths. Look at the bow. I mean, this is
festive.
perfect Southern Christmas right there. Oh,
Oh, there it is. The frosted pine cones. Oh,
Flocked
What kind
and
of
ready
tree
to
do they
rock.
grow on?
do what?
Austin, you
What
love
kind
it.
of tree do those grow on? The frosted
A
pine
decor
cone?
tree.
Oh, okay.
A decor tree.
Deco
Oh, a double
tree.
door with side lights.
That's
Cool.
beautiful.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
Good work.
We're gonna have to feature this on the Instagram page.
Pretty.
I'm going to
All
do a
right.
pot.
And then you should.
Yep.
And then our last photo comes from
Not pretty.
No.
Not Pretty.
Oh, no.
All right. So,
Oh, God.
greetings, Bates Guides to Gardening Bliss. Love that. A few weeks ago, I asked the Saturday morning show if there was any harmful mold out there on tulip poplars, as my neighbor had showed me some leaves with white mold spots that he had never seen before, attaching a picture of affected area.
It depends on what your definition of harmful is.
Yeah.
And if were it not for fungi, our life could not exist.
Exactly.
And things need to be able to break down, and the fungi are the principal instigators of the whole nitrogen
are.
fixation process, Josh.
Yes.
I know you were about to
I
say
knew
that.
man.
But it's very beneficial. It's very necessary. It might not look like it's doing that leaf good job, but the leaf is going away anyhow. So it's facilitating the decomposition of it. When that leaf breaks down, it turns back into soil. It goes into the ground.
It's kind of hard to kill the tulip poplar, too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Short of lightning.
I have a huge one in my
A
house.
few little fungi on the foliage is not going
Fun
to kill it.
guys.
That's the great thing about deciduous plants. We get to start over every spring.
There you go.
With
They'll
clean
be-
leaves.
No need in stressing about it.
Nope.
Just watch them go dormant.
Tulip poplars.
All
Stay
right.
there.
Should I prune grapes? If so, when?
Yes, you should definitely prune grapes. There, you can get on YouTube, I'm sure, and probably find 50 different videos on people pruning grapes. I mean, you know, you think about how like vineyards out in California, out in Italy, whatever. Like those people are doing very big pruning efforts on grapes. So that's a very loaded question.
Yeah,
You got to be clean about it.
And you got to also have done some preparation with respect to what you're going to grow those grapes on.
Yes,
you
the
know.
trellising system.
Very good point, Tyler. You want to have good, clean, proprietary shears.
Grapes
when you're
are
working on your
susceptible
grape.
to fungal intrusion, big time.
Keep
A lot of
alcohol
things.
And
wipes,
also,
clean them in between cuts.
when you grow those grapevines up, like David was saying, on something, you're going to grow them to that level. You're going to prune that there, and then there's going to be a new season of growth where you're running laterally.
Yes.
Exactly.
And then that growth, you're going to want to pick just the little bit of stem that's sticking upward. You want to ignore all the other ones that are going all the other crazy directions and cut to the first bud right above that. And that sets you up for success.
Okay.
Wonderful. I want to get one last question in that came in live. Any tips from removing mint from my herb garden? It was planted in the spring and it's taking over. Good luck.
No, never.
I had some escape from a pot and I've been battling it for about 5 years now.
You'll never get rid of
I
it.
thought I had pulled it all up.
It's
I redid that bed, came right back.
It's a part of you now.
Like the next day, it was just like, hey, I'm here.
Embrace it. It's a part of you.
You
It's
can-
part of your
Smells
life
great.
And the other little trick question to the trick answer to the prior question is about pruning grapes. Actually, you prune plums. It's raisin grapes.
Man.
There it is.
Wow.
Learn how to make
Amazing.
mojitos. That's just focus on the mojitos for next
Yeah.
spring. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, folks. The music means that. Wow, we've run through another hour of the Gardening
Pretty
Inside
quick.
Out show.
That was quick.
And it's amazing. Hey, we appreciate you being here and participating. You guys were on fire, commenting and participating this morning. We appreciate that. Like, share, tell everybody about the Gardening Inside Out show because we're going to come back next Saturday.
Sure.
You think so?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
yeah.
going to be here. You guys going to be here?
Yeah.
We're going to be here.
I think so.
We're gonna.
All
be
right. Thanks again, folks. See you next Saturday morning right here from Bates Nursery and Garden Center.